It got me thinking about this other story about how there are this section of white people who don't want to have anything to do with black people at all, right? They want to leave us out of their business completely, not just us, any LGBTQIA, any Jews, any non-white, non-Christian person is not permitted to live in a certain town. They created a whites only town. So this is like a step beyond sundown, I guess. So, the news isn't really talking about this. I think the town's been around for years. The reason it's becoming news again is because this town is now thinking they're going to spread to another state. They were in the Ozark Mountains, right? And now they want to go, I think, to Missouri. So, there's some talk about whether or not they should spread and what does it mean if it's legal. And just to give you guys some context, the way they're doing it is because it is illegal to discriminate on housing. What they're doing is they're selling a private membership to a club that owns the land. And because you are a member of the club, they're not selling you housing, they're selling you access to the grounds of the club, which can discriminate based on whatever they want to discriminate on. It's a very gray area that they're working in right now. The law isn't very specific in how they're doing it. So it's really very, very interesting. My question to you all is, just speaking for the culture, should we be inspired or should we be incensed? Is this something to for us to go, man, we should have our own cities? Or should we be like, look at that. They done burned down Black Wall Street. Now they're going to go get their own thing. What y'all think?
I love that for them. I do. I would love it for us too. If I felt like it was something that we could really manage and pull off, I would definitely be in support and I'd be actively working towards making it happen. I think the difference is that when white people choose to segregate, they always got to come back down the mountain, typically with tools and hoods in hand, and cause havoc on the people who are doing better than them elsewhere. Segregation does nothing but highlight what we could succeed at when we're at our best, and that in turn makes them jealous. And then their jealousy causes rage. And then they want to kill us all over again. So, yeah, you guys want to be up on a mountain in the Ozarks. And I see the threat of it reaching elsewhere because what they're doing is actually passing out Klan flyers and then recruiting people and then deciding to move into these settlements. So we know the premise of which you're moving for, right? Segregation under racial terms. Martin Luther King said at the very end of his life that he hated the fact that he ushered his people into a burning house. And so he knew back then that even integrating was going to be or had become so damaging to Black Americans that it was problematic. But do I think the solution is for them to move in the mountains and then what? I think it's a novel idea for them, but they're not going to really be successful at that here in the States either.
So I would say this, I actually support this. You know why I support it? I support it because there's already sundown towns that already exist. This is just an extension of those sundown towns that already exist. And so for them to act like this is something new and this is novel, it's not. We've been dealing with this and living with this for many, many moons now. And the difference is, as Tia pointed out, hopefully you don't feel the need to come down and burn, flood, destroyed by infrastructure, i.e. running highways through, or through other mechanisms such as bombing Black neighborhoods, Black towns, and whatnot, if we decide to do the same. Now, I will acknowledge that it may be more difficult for us to do the same simply because we don't necessarily have, as Tia pointed out, the infrastructure in place. But I don't necessarily think it's that we don't have the infrastructure in place. I think it's we don't have the wherewithal. We don't have the motivation. We don't have the drive to do so in some places, right? There's this one project I think it was in Houston. His name was Chris something. And he had this whole by the block, right? Same with Nipsey Hussle, right? By the block. But this Chris guy, I think it was Chris Senegal, if I recall correctly, but he was trying to get a entire community of just Black businesses, Black everything, hospitals, banks, everything. And he was looking for investors. And he was complaining about how it was really hard for him to get investors to invest in this ideal because at the end of the day, we've actually divested from our own community, whether we know or acknowledge it or not. There's too many of us who's willing to assimilate at the cost of the crumbs at the table. And I will say that I find it so fascinating because they did do it under a new flag, i.e., oh, this is our preference. Yeah. What? This is our preference. This is privacy. What? And I'm like, okay, go ahead. It's just racism in disguise. We got you. It's okay. You know, some people have made being racist okay in 2025. We're not going to name who those people are because I'm pretty sure we know who those people are. And so it's okay. Go ahead and put your hood on. Go ahead and put on a certain color hat. Go ahead and bring out the little tiki torches because I would rather see you than not know you coming. So I see you. I know you coming. And I appreciate knowing you coming. And I agree that MLK, when he said he integrated us into a burning house, this is why I honestly believe he was assassinated, because he started to realize the errors his ways. Because guess what? We don't have the same amount of black hospitals, black banks, black credit unions, black schools. Although we still got the HBCU, and as a proud HBCU grad, whoop, whoop, JSU, I appreciate the HBCUs that continue to exist. But let's not lie or acknowledge the fact that they're still trying to phase those HBCUs out. And so I say congratulations to you two, as in you two folks at the settlement who came up with this idea of turning to a preference and saying, yes, it's our preference. And then when we go with our preference, please don't let your jealousy and envy, because that's what this has always been about. Don't let that get your knickers in a bunch and you come and flood our communities and you come and do harm to our communities. Matter of fact, stay up in the Ozarks because y'all got the complexion for that cold ass weather. Stay up there. I support it.